I am partly thinking I need to turn my live today into how to manage things when the tech fails you. It's happened to me a few times this week, so I did have one crack at doing this Facebook Live. Don't know if anyone saw the first 2 minutes, and then my connection dropped out. But anyway, here I am. A little bit later than I would normally do the Facebook Live. I've been doing a bit of travelling today, so found myself in a lovely location here by the Mauritia River, and thought I would jump on and answer my Q&A question for this week. Now, I have to confess, it's my question. It's something that I've been grappling with this week, and so I thought I would share it. So I thought it probably doesn't hurt if I put it in the odd question myself. And before I do, the last week I let you know that when we hit 60 members of the group, that there'd be a prize to be given out. So we're really close to that. I was really fortunate this week to work with a really great team organisation, and so a couple of them jumped into the group, so we're very close to that 60 mark. So as soon as we hit 60, I'll jump back in with a live. We'll do a random draw of all the members, and someone will be getting a prize. So if you want to help hurry that process along, if you know someone who might like to jump into the group as well, please feel free to share it. You'd be very welcome to bring along any of your colleagues, friends, family, anyone who might be interested. So this week's Q&A is all about how do you turn something that's a bit of a drudge, something that you don't really want to do, something that feels a bit tedious, how do you not only just turn that around and make it feel okay, but how do you maybe even flourish from that experience? So that seems to be a pretty good question to ask, because most of us from time to time will have things that we do that feel so. And I had that this week. So I've had a fairly full week. Last Wednesday was the launch for the NRLW, which I'm involved with. It was a big week of footy. Obviously a great result for the Cowboys on the weekend. Lots of things happening. And in my personal life, we were doing something that many families do from time to time, maybe not that often, but we moved house. So we were moving house, and we were moving house into a house that we've built. So I haven't built a house before, so we built a house, and as often happens, particularly with building at the moment, it took a smidge longer than we thought, so about 6 months longer than we thought. So a little bit of waiting around for the house. So I noticed on Friday, so we moved last Friday, and then I guess we've moved from that stage of moving to unpacking. So we're in the house now, but I actually caught myself on Friday complaining. And what I was saying to someone was, oh, yeah, I have to move house today. And fortunately, I like to aim to be mindful where I can around my self-talk, either the self-talk that happens inside my head or certainly the comments that I say out loud to others. And I sort of caught myself and went, oh, what am I doing there? Because, of course, what we know is there's that really strong relationship between what we say and how we feel. And we know that feelings drive behaviours. So whenever we go down the path of the things that we have to do, typically when we describe those to someone else, we're doing that with a little bit of tone perhaps, like I was very much saying, oh, I have to move house tomorrow, or I have to move house today, I have to move house this weekend, I have to unpack, all those sorts of things. And of course that doesn't sound like I'm particularly energised around what I'm doing there, and it certainly probably doesn't make me very good company either. So I caught myself doing that because this is something that I often do in the workshops that I run, but I also talked about this in The Elite, which is my first book. And so it's an exercise that I thought is useful one to share, because how do you go from a tedious task? And if you think about all the tedious stuff that we put into our days, maybe I have to get up early, maybe I have to prepare meals for the family before we leave the house, maybe I have to drive the kids to school, maybe I have to get organised for work, maybe I have to go to work, maybe I have to juggle some household things during the course of my day, maybe I have to organise dinner, maybe I have to clean up after dinner, maybe I have to, so I'm just giving some examples there, but maybe some of those things resonate for you, and none of them sound particularly fulfilling, yet they're all tasks I'm definitely going to be doing. So here's the thing, what we want to do is take ourselves from off the complain train, if you like, to stop the whinging, and take ourselves to a place where our mindset is functioning a little bit better. Because if our mindset's a little bit better, if our mindset is improved, we'll feel better within ourselves, and then we'll function better and we'll be better company. So there's a really quick way to shift that. So what you could do is if you've got a piece of paper handy, you could write down for yourself half a dozen things that you have to do every single day. And even if you don't write it down, maybe you could think about those things right now, what they are and what they might look like. So I'll give you a moment to think about those. What are all the things that you have to do today? What are all the things you have to do tomorrow? And then the exercise is quite interesting. So what I want you to think about is imagine that you're writing those things up on a whiteboard. I have to get ready for work. I have to go to work. I have to organise dinner. Say those 3 things. What I want you to do now is to change those things. Not the things themselves, but the phrasing that I offered you before it. So now instead of I have to get up early and get ready for work, it's I get to get up early and get ready for work. Rather than I have to drop the kids to school, it's I get to drop the kids to school. Rather than I have to organise dinner, it's that I get to organise dinner. I even did that when we moved into our house, and then this superstar turned up with a washing machine for me and delivered that. And I said, oh, now I have to do the washing. I get to do the washing. So the difference there between the I have to's versus the I get to's is that moving our thinking from have to get to actually opens us up to gratitude. So many of you will have heard me talk about gratitude before. So gratitude is an absolute winner. And in fact, gratitude is something that we talk about in many different settings. We know that grateful people tend to feel happier within themselves. They're much more likely to perform better. And we know that one of the biggest enhancers of well-being is to bring more gratitude into our lives. So that might be being grateful for the things we have at the end of the day, being grateful for the people that we're around. But one of the things that I've found interesting over the last couple of years is that we know that gratitude is not only a well-being booster, if we want to call it that, but we know that gratitude is also a performance enhancer. So when I'm working with athletic teams, I'm encouraging them to reflect in a way that is grateful, not only because it makes them feel better with who they are, but it also will help them to perform better. A grateful athlete, a grateful team will tend to be more successful. And we see that consistently in the research. So the very simple task of shifting my thinking from what I have to do to what I get to do instantly reminds me of what I have, which is plenty, as is many of us listening in on the call. You know, we are very fortunate with the countries that we live in and the lifestyles that we have. So if I think about my life in terms of what I get to do, like I get to move house, which means that I get to be in this beautiful home that we've built, rather than turning that into a drudge. And instantly, as soon as I reminded myself that I get to do this, I was instantly feeling better. I engaged with the task more. I wasn't whinging and complaining, and potentially I was a little bit better company around my household. So that was the pointer that I wanted to share with you today. There is a big difference between the things you have to do versus the things you get to do. So shifting that language for yourself will make a really big difference, because the reality is you're doing those things anyway. I'm moving house regardless. The bit that I get to choose is whether I do that in a way that is grateful or whether I do that in a way that is complaining. So it's stepping off the complain train and stepping into gratitude, which makes it instantly more enjoyable for me. So I hope that gives you something to think about. I'm also hopeful that maybe in this next week we'll get our extra 4 or 5 people to join the group and we can give away some prizes. And jump into the group. If you've got a question that you want to ask or that you'd like me to cover on the Q&A, don't be scared to either send it through to me privately or put it in on the chat. I'll keep it anonymous if you want me to. That's no trouble at all. But always happy to answer the questions that you might have. So I'm going to enjoy my setting that I'm in at the moment. It's a beautiful afternoon here, and look forward to catching up with everyone next week on the Q&A.